How did you just assess your camp so far?
This camp has been really good. Our room talked about it yesterday with Coach Gallant. I definitely feel like the most mindful and healthy and like present that I have throughout my 4 years here so far. It's definitely wild. Fourth camp feels crazy because they go by so fast. But I mean, this is absolutely the healthiest I've felt through a camp, and routines have been phenomenal. Just feel like I'm sleeping my best, feeling my body the best. It's been really good so far. Super enjoyable too. This team's awesome.
Last year you didn't get as many opportunities because the offense just punched them in.
Yes, sir.
What's it like sitting and just kind of watching that? I know you want the best for your team,
Yeah.
but you also are here because you want to kick.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that puts me in a funny spot because obviously we prepare like every game's the same, expect 10 field goals or 0 field goals. For me personally, like I'd rather win than everything. Like, I mean, I love to win, whether it's in the kicking game or just in general. And, you know, truthfully, our offense proved themselves time and time again last year that if we're going to go for it on fourth down, chances are we're going to get it. And so all I do in those situations is just support and know that, like, the coaches know if we need a field goal, I'll be there prepared. But end of the day, whatever helps us win the most is what I truthfully do want for the team.
You got a big win in your hometown last year. What was that like? What's the aftermath of that been like?
Yeah, that was special for me. I talked about it with Coach Jamal Richardson on my official visit in high school. You know, we're going to go to Knoxville and win that game while you're here. And just back then, if you would have said that to someone, people would have laughed. And so I just felt like I fully believed in that, and I know the coaches did too. And so to see that come into play in the present day was just really exciting for me. It's Thanksgiving weekend, family's home. A lot of my high school friends are back in town for the holiday, and so knowing that there was a ton of people there was really cool for me. And also it's personal, truthfully. I mean, I grew up thinking I was going to be a Vol whenever I was young. Freshman year of high school, you know, you're a good football player in Knoxville, you assume you're going to go play for Tennessee. That ended up happening for me, and obviously I'm proud of the side that I'm on. I'd pick this side 10 times over if I go back to my senior year. But for someone like me, I mean, that means a lot to me. You get a lot of texts that week of, you know, good luck to everybody on that field. You know, hopefully you play good, but that's it. And like, you know, I'm not going to use any foul language, but to me that's like a diss, in my opinion. You know, no matter who it's coming from. It could be my uncle for anything. And I mean, for me, I want to win that game every time we play them. And yeah, being in Knoxville, getting some field goals there was really special. That one felt amazing.
How involved were they recruiting you?
Yeah, Tennessee was big in recruiting me. They obviously were going through a lot of staff changes throughout that time that I was in high school, so there was a lot of validity just in what was going on, who I was talking to at the time. But they were super involved. They were in that awkward spot of still facing the scholarship penalty from years prior, and that left me in a weird spot where there were talks of a preferred walk-on. And you know, truthfully, Vanderbilt stepped in and said, like, you're not a walk-on. Like, you're going to come here and be our guy for the next 4 years, and we're going to place that bet on you. We need you to fill your part. And I mean, that's all I needed to hear. I already loved the staff and everything. I wanted to go to a better school than Tennessee, and Vanderbilt is that. And truthfully, I knew that they had trust in me. And like I said, I mean, I still love playing for the coaches that I get to play for every day. I get to come here. It feels like a blessing.
A lot of people might think that like kicking a football is just foot to ball. Could you kind of break down the technicalities of like actually kicking in a real game?
Yeah, absolutely. I love talking technical stuff. It's different for every kicker. There's more quad dominant kickers that are normally a little bit bigger and stronger. And then in the more recent era of kickers, we're seeing more limber, slightly more athletic guys, similar to my build. It's a lot more hip rotation stuff and rotational kicking. So for someone like me, like I have like certain swing thoughts that I think of when I'm back behind the ball, which consists of, like I said, I use a lot of my hips. I'm not that heavy compared to some other guys, and so a lot of my leg speed comes from rotational power rather than muscle. And so for me, it's reminding myself when I'm getting my hips through for about a foot past ball contact, finish up through the uprights before letting my leg come across. I have a coach in Knoxville, Gerald Robinson, who's old in the game. He used to go around the country coaching with Ray Guy, and I call him the wizard. But one thing he always told me is everyone's going to be different behind the ball and after the ball. It's that like foot to foot and a half before the ball and after the ball that needs to be the same with everybody. So kind of keeping those reminders that my swing's my swing, but also some stuff's just non-negotiable with foot to ball contact, leg lock, ankle lock, and things like that.
How much better do you think college football kicking is than maybe when you were in high school? It feels like it's come along.
Yeah, it's insane. I remember doing an article my sophomore year with ESPN because I didn't necessarily know this, but they were just talking about the statistics of kickers in college football at that time and just how much it's elevated. Truthfully, I think guys are getting better each year with the resources that are out there. I mean, AI is getting involved in kicking form nowadays, which is crazy, but people are really diving into the resources. And I also think a lot of teams, I think we were early to this, but I think a lot of teams are realizing how valuable special teams is, especially with this new playoff structure with more teams being involved. You can really tell who's struggling in the specialist game. and things like that. So I think the emphasis on it has been great. And I think truthfully, guys are, and this is obviously just because I'm really close with the guys around my age in the kicking world, especially in the SEC, but I think guys know what it takes to get to the next level. I mean, same thing with the NFL kickers. People are elevating and developing faster than they used to. So, I mean, if you want to do it, there's not really an off season rather than just like it was if you can make kicks, you were a good kicker. Now it's who can make the most kicks at the deepest distance and also just make all those kicks that are considered 100% field goals. And so it's been cool. I'm thankful to be a part of it at this time. And every off season I go work multiple times a year around the country with other kickers and coaches, whether it be NFL or college guys, and I think that competitive edge really helps a ton in pushing guys to make each other better rather than just individually.
You've had a really remarkable accuracy right here, and you've also made some long kicks and then made some under pressure too.
Yes, sir.
What's the key? Because you want to be locked in, but you don't want to get out there and get in your own head and overthink it and you know, mess up in a big moment. How do you handle that moment, especially when it's a kick that could decide a game? What do you do mentally going into that?
Yeah. Again, different for everybody. For me, I love to come out here and joke and stuff with the team. I'm really close with our whole team, and I take a lot of pride in that because I have so much fun at practice and during weekends of games in the hotel with guys. But I think you could ask any coach or player when it's time to focus. I definitely kind of flip a switch, and I think I've been like that my whole life, even before I started playing football. I think when it's time to perform, I'm very mentally aware of that, and I kind of shut down internally and kind of go into what I like to call the flow state. And so if you ask my coaches or players on Saturday mornings, whether it's a night game or a morning game, I'm going for a walk every morning and just kind of quiet time. I listen to a lot of music when we're walking the field before kickoff. I'm pretty internally focused, not talking as much as I normally do. And I appreciate and respect our team and staff because they know that that's what I like to do, so they kind of let me be. And so it's like that intense, happy medium of laser focus, but also like Coach Corbin, our baseball coach, says this a lot, and he always talks about like stay in the middle, don't get too high, don't get too low. Take a lot of pride in that too. I'm so thankful that I've gotten the opportunity to have the career I've had thus far at Vanderbilt, but in my opinion, I feel like this is my first camp. Like I still feel like I need to win a job. You know, when you get to the next level, that's what it is. It doesn't matter how good you are. Someone's trying to beat you out every day. So I try to approach it with just like Coach Lee says, never arrive. And my position's so cool and so individual specific where there's so much room for improvement at all times. And so I just think reminding myself that, you know, the stats are great and stuff, and I take pride in that, and I think that definitely feeds my confidence. But when it comes down to it, that kick's that kick. You know what I mean? No one cares if you set a long kick the year prior or the week prior. It's just whenever you're called on that Saturday, you got to remind yourself that this is expected to go in, and so you need to make that kick.
You were on the Luke Rosa watch list.
Mm-hmm.
I know you know this is a team and a roster that doesn't really pay attention to those kinds of things, but is that, you know, kicking at that type of level, is that the standard and the expectation you set for yourself?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we set individual goals at the start of camp for this season, this fall, and my football goals. I want to win the Groza, and I think our staff does such a good job pushing the importance of special teams. I know that the opportunities will be there. Last year was definitely an outlier where we kept getting it on fourth down. That's okay. Like, I'd rather get it on fourth down and go score a touchdown. But, you know, the margins are thin in the SEC, and I know that means that when my number's called, I got a lot of positions in the games where I'm going to need to step up and, you know, make a deciding moment on the field. And so for me, I hold myself to a really high standard just because, like I said in the prior question, there's so much room for improvement. And I think I've proven to myself when I was young that I definitely have the athletic abilities to accomplish things like that. So it's truthfully just wiring it in during season and making sure that when the time comes, I put myself in the best position to succeed and win awards like that.
Coach Lepak talked about in special teams and kicking, like they look for quick twitch things and things like that. He talked about dunking basketballs, explosives. Is there anything that you've done athletically, like dunk a basketball or you know, turn in a spectacular 40-time or something that you're kind of proud of there?
Yeah, that helped me a ton in the recruiting game with Vanderbilt. Coach Lepak and Barton Simmons always talked about how they look for athletic guys. So for me, like if you look at me, I don't necessarily pass the eye test. I'm like 6'2", 165. But the coaches knew. They had me on my visit, like I asked them if I could show them my backflip, like I can do a bunch of flips, and I can still dunk. In high school, I used to be able to, like off the backboard, and I used to be able to windmill and stuff. Have gotten heavier, so I'm thankful about that, but I can still, if you give me a ball, I can one step into it and dunk. And so stuff like that benefits me for sure on the field. I think my vertical and speed helps my fast switch muscles a ton. And that's something that not a lot of people know, but Lepak and Coach Gallant and Barton, when they recruited me, took notice of, which I really appreciated because I think they lean on the fact that they know how to develop players, which they obviously do. You can't teach some of those things, which I've been thankful for, just God-given talents.
Have you become become like a kicking nerd? And if so, what kind of resources do you lean on the most? Like, are you one of the guys that uses like the AI stuff, or do you use other?
I think all that stuff is still so developmental. I'm a huge AI forward guy. I think it's a big part of our world. That's obviously another topic. But personally, I think I'm kind of in the middle. I think some guys nerd out a little bit too much on stuff like that. I think one of the traits that has benefited me a lot is obviously you want everything to be as replicable as possible every single day that you're kicking, but that's just not how it's always going to be. And so for me, I think you get to a Saturday, you're tight in a certain area, and not every Saturday is going to feel like, holy crap, that was my best warm-up ever. Sometimes you got to lean on the stuff that you know, which is athletic ability, trusting your snap, and just like those swing thoughts that can carry you through. But for the most part, I really do love watching film. I've been like that since I was young. I remember in high school, I wouldn't be able to fall asleep at night because I'd just be staring at film from the day prior and dissecting little things like that. I mean, I go kick on FaceTime with my coaches all the time that are around the country and just have them look at the little things, because I think that also feeds into the fact of there's always room to improve. And it's like a golf swing. You can always fix stuff, get more swing power, get more consistent leg speeds, things like that.
You guys have been elite in special teams for the last couple of years, not just you, but other parts of that room. Why is that?
I think first off, I have to give credit to our coaches. I mean, I tell people that, and I tell these kids that are on visits that, and I think they think I'm corny or trying to drag it out. But truthfully, I mean, Coach Gallant and Coach Lepak are the best in the country. I thought that when I was in high school, and then Coach Lepak was the analyst my freshman year, got pulled up when our former coordinator left, and I remember that day very vividly. I remember exactly where I was when he called me and told me that he got that position, because I was so excited, and I knew he knew that's how I felt. And he told me, the first thing he told me is we're going to get the pieces around you to succeed, snapper, holder, analyst. Coach Gallant gets brought in. I mean, it's been a phenomenal 3 years with Coach Gallant. He truly knows the game a lot more than I think people do, because he's so intentional in his work. And also those two, similar to our room, just love to win. I think that's always the backbone of what we do in our room, which has been great. So yeah, I got to give the coaches a ton of credit. I mean, I don't think people realize how important it is on the recruiting side. This is my third consecutive season starting with a new snapper and holder, and I've never once felt unconfident. I mean, they put serious time in the offseason and going into the portal and finding guys that'll work in our system, personality-wise, skill set-wise, work ethic-wise. And so I think I got to give credit around that, because I can do my job as good as I can, but a lot of the times it depends on the pieces around me. I'd never have a worry that those guys aren't going to be on 10. I feel like they're always putting me in this position to succeed. And then I think our whole staff, just like I said, we put such an emphasis on ST, which has been phenomenal for me, because it's there's a standard in our room, and that means that we need to be the best room in the country, and every year we expect that. And so there's no okay, this is our kicker, punter, snapper. We don't really know them that well, but we better hope they do good on Saturday. If I come out and I have a bad field goal period, Coach Kill and Coach Lee will come up to me and rip me, which I appreciate, because it's just this room's just important as an offensive or defensive skill set. And so I think that constant chase towards success is really lively in our room, and I think people are just hungry. And I've been like that my whole life. I mean, I'm here to try and play at the next level and win games for Vanderbilt. So I feel like every day I wake up, it's no satisfactory feeling of I've done good so far. I mean, I make jokes to my friends I want my jersey retired. It's little things like that I think keep in the back of your mind. There's no settling in those areas. I think we want to be good just like every other unit in our program does. We need to be the best in the country.